guys, so today you need your little thin workbook that I sent home. Make sure you have that ready. It's the Oklahoma Student Companion. Okay, first we're going to watch a brain pop video together. I'm going to share my screen and we're going to watch it, and then we're going to work in our workbook. Okay, today we're going to learn about rounding. Okay, so let's watch. Make sure I'm sharing my screen. I am. Okay, here we go.
I'm doing a report on oceans, and I found some movies about ocean animals. But I only have 30 minutes of library time. This movie is 37 minutes long. That's about 40 minutes. Do I have enough time to watch it? When you estimate, you use what you know or see to make a reasonable guess about an amount. How do you round to the nearest 10?
That's what we're going to learn.
Here's a movie about coral reefs. About how long is the movie? Round the number to the nearest 10 to give you an estimate. The number 19 is between two tens, 10 and 20, but it's closer to 20. So when you round 19 to the nearest 10, you round up to 20.
Okay, guys, so that's all rounding is if we're rounding to the nearest 10, then we're going to put it on a number line, and 19 is between 10 and 20, and then you're just going to see which is that number closest to, and that's rounding.
So this movie is about 20 minutes long. This movie on whales is 64 minutes long. Let's round that number to the nearest 10. 64 is between two tens, 60 and 70.
So let's look before she even tells us. Here's 64, and we want to round it to the nearest 10. So 64 is between 60 and 70. So which is it closest to? Right, it's closest to 60.
But 64 is closer to 60. So when you round 64 to the nearest 10, you round down to 60. This movie is about 60 minutes long. This movie is 45 minutes long. 45 is right in the middle between 40 and...
What are we going to do? There's a fun rule for rounding. Let's listen.
50. When a number falls right in the middle, we round up to the nearest 10. So 45 rounds up to 50. The movie on sharks is about 50 minutes long. When you round to the nearest 10, look at the digit in the ones place. If the digit is less than 5, round down to the nearest 10. If the digit is greater than 5, round up to the nearest 10. And if the digit is equal to 5, round up.
So you're going to learn a saying that is when you round, okay, if the number, we'll get to the underlining and circle later, okay? So if the digit in the ones place is 4 or less, you're going to let it rest, meaning it's going to stay a 0. It's going to go down. It's going to be a 0. Okay. We're going to look at this. This number, the 5 here, is going to boss this 8 around, okay? This 5 is going to tell this 8 what to do. So if it is 5 or more, so 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9, it's going to tell this one to raise the score. If this number is 4 or less, then this number rests, meaning it doesn't change, okay?
If a two-digit number has a 0 in the ones place, then it's already rounded to the nearest 10.
Yep.
When I'm rounding, I like to think of numbers going over a hill. When I reach 5, which is at the top of the hill, it's easier to go over to the other side to the higher number. How can you round numbers to the nearest 100? Check out this movie, Moby. It's about dolphins. About how long is this movie? You can round to the nearest 100. 118 is between 100 and 200, but it's closer to 100. So when you round to the nearest 100, you round down to 100. This movie is about 100 minutes long. When you round to the nearest 100, look at the digit in the tens place to help you decide whether to round up or down. In 329, the digit in the tens place is 2. Since 2 is less than 5, you round down to the nearest 100. So 329 rounds down to 3.
So that's what I was saying. So the tens is going to tell our hundreds what to do. So it's 4 or less. So it's on the back side of the hill. So it's going to go down to 300. So this stays a 3. It rests at a 3. And then everything else gets changed to zeros.
300. Round this number to the nearest 100. Remember, look at the digit in the tens place.
Okay, so let's look at this. We're rounding to the nearest 100. So we have 872. So the digit in the tens place is going to tell that 8 what to do. So we have a 7. So let's say our little thing we learned. 4 or less, let it rest. 5 or more, raise the score. So this 8 is going to become a 9, and then these are going to become zeros. Let's check to see if we were right.
Since 7 is greater than 5, you round up to the nearest 100.
There you go.
So 872 rounds up to 900. Now round 254 to the nearest 100. First look at the digit in the tens place. Since it's equal to 5, we round up to the nearest 100. So 254 rounds up to 300. Anyway, Moby, I only have 30 minutes of library time. Which movie can I watch? The movie about coral reefs is only about 20 minutes long. So I can watch that one. You want to learn about coral reefs, Moby?
I think that's a yes. Okay, so let's take the quiz together.
Start.
So it says, this chart shows how many shells people collected at the beach. Who collected about 40 shells? So we have to round, right? So let's look. Moby collected 33. What does that round to? Is it going to round to 30 or to 40? The 3 in the ones place is going to tell this 3 what to do. 4 or less, it's going to stay a 3. 5 or more, it's going to raise the score. So this is going to stay 30. Okay. Mia, 68. That 8 tells that 6 to go up to 70. Grandpop, this 5 tells the 4 to go up to 50. And Becca, 37, the 7 tells our 3 to go up to 40. So who collected about 40 shells? Becca. Round 55 to the nearest 10. So this is the one where it's directly in the middle. So let's think of our rule. 4 or less, let it rest. 5 or more, raise the score. So that's the ones digit is telling the digit in the tens what to do. So 5 or more raise the score. So we're going to go up to 60. Moby has a secret number. It rounds up to 90. So we have to see which one would round to 90. Up to 90, okay? 83. The 3 is going to tell that 8. Is it going to rest or raise the score? Right, it's going to rest because it's 4 less. Okay, what's this 4 telling that 8 to do? Rest or raise? 4 less, let it rest. What about 87? The 7, is it going to rest or raise the score? 4 less, let it rest. 5 or more, raise the score. Right, that rounds to 90. Now 91 rounds to 90, but our question says it rounds up to 90. Good job. Mia rounds the number of students in her school to the nearest 100. Which number could be her answer? So it says she's already rounded. So when we round to the nearest 100, we're going to have a number and then 2 zeros. So there's only one choice, 600. How do you round 46 to the nearest 10? So 46, the 6 is going to tell that 4. Is it going to 4 less, let it rest and stay a 4? Or 5 or more on the 6, 5 or more raise the score. It's going to raise the score. So that 4 is going to be a 5. So it's 46 rounded to the nearest 10 is 50. So we round up to 50. Good job. Okay, so let's go over here and get out your Oklahoma workbook. Okay, and I am on Oklahoma lesson 5. So the page number is OK 15. Okay, find that page, Oklahoma lesson 5. Okay, let's look at this. To round 73 and 77 to the nearest 10, answer exercises 1 to 6. So it's going to walk us through a bunch till we get to our answer, okay? So it says plot 73 on the number line. So we have 70, 75, and 80. So each one of these is 1. So we're going to fill this in. We're going to go 71, 72, 73, 74. And remember, you can pause at any time. 77, 78, and 79. Okay, so if you need to pause to do that, go ahead. Okay, so it says plot 73. When we see it say plot, that just means it wants you to put it on a number line. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put a little black circle here. So I know that's 73. Okay, so let's look at our next question. Is 73 closer to 70 or 80? Here's 70, here's 80. Which is it closer to? Yeah, it's closer to 70s. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to write 70 right on that line directly over, okay? So what is 73 rounded to the nearest 10? To 70. We also know because the 3 tells the 7 what to do, and it's saying, hey, it's 4 less, so let that 7 rest, okay? Now we're going to plot 77 on the number line. So we're going to go up here and we're going to find 77. I'm going to put a black dot. Okay. Is 77 closer to 70 or 80? Here's 70, here's 80. We're looking at 77. It's closer to 80. So what is 77 rounded to the nearest 10? Rounded to 80. Okay. The 7 tells this 7 what to do. So it's saying, hey, I'm 5 or more, so we're going to raise the score and go up. Okay. Oh, I drew again. I'm sorry. Okay. plot 380 and 336 to the nearest 100, around to the nearest 100. So this says plot 380 on the number line. So we have 300, 350, and 400. So that means each one of these is 10. It's going up in increments of 10. So I'm going to fill this in. 310, 320, 330, 340. I gotta write really little. 360, 370, 380, 390. Remember, right now you can pause and fill those in. Okay? So plot 380. So 380 is over here. Okay? Is 380 closer to 300 or 400? It's closer to 400. Good job. So what is 380 rounded to the nearest 100? 400. Okay? Remember, when we do hundreds, this number is what tells that number what to do. Okay? So that 8 is 5 or more. Okay? Now I want you to do these three by yourself. Okay? So pause me, and it says plot 336 on the number line. That's a tricky one. And then round. Okay? Answer those three questions. Go ahead and pause. Okay, so 336. That's going to be about right here. Okay, 336. So our first question says, is 336 closer to 300 or 400? Here's 336. Good, it's closer to 300. So what is 336 rounded to the nearest 100? Yeah, 300. And that 3 told that other 3 what to do. Our 10s told the hundreds what to do. Okay? So round 459 to the nearest 100 by answering exercises 13 to 16. So number 13, what is the digit in the hundreds place in 459? Okay, the hundreds place, what digit? The 4. Okay, so we're going to write a 4. What digit is to the right of the 4? So right next to it, to the right, that's a 5. Okay, I'm going to turn our page. There's more on the back. Okay, so let's look. Is the digit to the right of the 4 less than 5, or is it greater than 5? Okay, well, our number that we're rounding is 459. So I'm going to write that up here just so I don't have to keep turning back and forth. 459, and we're rounding to the nearest 100. So is the digit to the right of the 4 less than 5, or is it 5 or greater? It's 5 or greater. Okay. Remember, you can pause at any time. So here's the thing. If the digit is 5 or greater, add 1 to the digit in the place you are rounding. So we're rounding to the 100. Okay. If the digit is less than 5, then the digit in the place you're rounding stays the same. So this is where our little rule comes in. So change the 4 to the next greater digit. So what is the next greater digit from 4? Just go up 1. It's a 5. And change the 5 and 9 to zeros. So those are both going to become zeros. So what is 459 rounded to the nearest 100? It's 500. Okay, so you don't have to do this. This is just me writing. 459. With our saying, I'm going to add in these steps. Okay, I always circle the place you're rounding to. We're rounding to the 100, so I'm going to circle it. Underline the digit to the right of that number, and then that number is going to boss that number around. Okay, so 5 or more, raise the score. and then these become zeros. 4 or less, let this number rest, which means it's going to stay the same, and then these become zeros. Okay, so let's try it. 54. I'm going to circle my 5. I'm going to underline my 4. Okay, this 4 is going to tell that 5 what to do. 4 or less, let it rest. 5 or more, raise the score. So is this 5 going to stay the same or go up? 4 or less, let it rest. 5 or more, raise the score. We're going to let it rest. So that's going to stay a 5. And then everything else changes to zeros. Okay, we just rounded 54 to 50. Okay, so 37, we're rounding to the nearest 10. So that's the number we're going to circle, the digit in the tens place. And then I'm going to underline that 7. Okay, what are we going to do? That 7 is going to tell that 3 what to do. You figure it out and write it down. Okay, so 4 or less, let it rest. 5 or more, raise the score. Okay, so is this 7? 4 or less, let it, or 5 or more? It's 5 or more. So this 3, it's bossing that 3 around. It's saying, hey, you need to raise the score and go up to 4. And then the 7 runs away, becomes a 0. That's what my kids like to say last year, is that 7 is so bossy that then it bosses that 3 around and then it runs away. So we're left with zeros. Okay, let's do 81. So we're going to 10. So circle your 8 and underline your 1. Okay, that 1 is going to boss that 8 around. So is this number 4 or less or 5 or more? It's 4 or less. So this 8 is going to stay the same. It's going to rest. And then that 1, oh my goodness, it bossed that 8 around. So now it's going to run away. And we're left with a 0. Okay? You do this one by yourself. Circle, underline, and do your little arrow. Go ahead. You can pause me. Okay, so I circled the 6, I underlined the 5, and I drew my arrow. This 5 is going to boss this 6 around. So is this 5 4 or less? No. Is it 5 or more? Yes. So this 5 is telling this 6 to raise the score. So it's going to become a 7. And the 5, oh my goodness, it yelled at that 6. It's going to run away. And we're left with a 0. Good job. Okay. I'm going to do this one with you. And then I want you to do these. Okay. But you're going to pause and then come back and see if you did it right. Okay. So 21, we're rounding to the nearest 100. So this time we're going to circle the digit in the hundreds place. And we're going to underline the digit to the right of it. Okay. Then I'm going to draw my arrows. So this 0, is it 4 or less or 5 or more? It's 4 or less. So this 6 is going to rest. And that 0, it bossed that 6 around. So it's going to take that 9 and they're going to run away. So we're left with 2 zeros. Okay. Now you pause and try to do the next 3. Okay. Go ahead and pause. Okay. So we're rounding to the hundreds. So I circled the digit in the hundreds number. I underlined the digit to the right. That 5, 4 or less, 5 or more. The 5 is 5 or more. So it's going to tell that 3, hey, you got to raise the score. So 400, the 5 is going to run away and take the 1 with it. We're left with zeros. Okay. This one, we're rounding to the hundreds place. Underline the digit to the right of it. This 9 is going to boss that 4 around. So this 9, is this 9 4 or less or 5 or more? It's 5 or more. So we're going to raise that score. So it's going to become a 5. And then that 9 is going to run away and take everything that way with it. So it's going to go with the 1. 500. Okay. 850. Circle the digit in the place we're rounding to, the 100 place. Underline the digit to the right. That 5 is going to tell that 8 what to do. 4 less? Nope, it's 5 or more. So this 8 is going to become a 9. And then the 5 is going to run away with the 0 and leave a 0. Okay? Good job. That's it. You don't have to do 25 or 26. Okay? You have an assignment on Seesaw that you need to go do for rounding practice. And then tomorrow you need this book for lesson 6. Okay? Good job.